Hello, it's great to see we're getting a lot of people coming in. So hello and welcome to this week's Project Pantry. As some of you might know already, Project Pantry is all about, making very simple, very easy, and very healthy recipes using hopefully things that you have on hand in your pantry or lying around in your fridge. So it's all about, trying to make healthy simple and give us a little bit of motivation and inspiration while we're staying at home. So my name's Laura. I'm a nutritionist with Nutrition Australia New South Wales and Share. And Project Pantry is a joint initiative with these two really fantastic not-for-profit organisations. We've been doing quite a lot of free online classes and community support programs during this time. Especially as we're battling the COVID pandemic. I'm joined here today by Paige from Nutrition Australia New South Wales. So she's going to be helping out in the chat and helping to kind of answer questions along the way as well. Today, we are making two, very quick recipes in under 30 minutes. So we've got a chickpea and couscous salad, and we've also got mini vegetable quiche. And both of these, I think you can really make your own. And that's what I say every week about, recipes being the starting point and what can you do to make it work for you and what you have on hand. And I think these are two really great examples of recipes which, are very flexible and you can just have a bit of a play around with yourself. So before we get started, we're going to do our thing that we do at the start of every session, which is just to reflect a little bit on how confident we feel cooking healthy meals or, opening your pantry and thinking about what are you going to cook. So on a scale of 1 to 5, so 1 feeling, really not that confident and 5 feeling super confident and like you're cooking every day. Let us know how confident on a scale of 1 to 5 do you feel about cooking healthy meals right now. So pop it in the chat or just, you can take yourself off, you can put your camera on and show us your hand there. I see we've got a couple of 3s, a couple of 5s already, so that's a really good starting point. 4.5, I love that. Yeah, so I think we've got a really good group with us today, so I'm looking forward to this session. So without further ado, let's get cracking. We're going to start today with the chickpea and couscous salad. And the first thing I'm going to do is start getting our couscous prepared. So I've got 200 grams of couscous weighed out here, just in this glass container. And into this, we're going to be adding 200 mils of stock. So this is salt-reduced vegetable stock. This brand is Massel's, I'm pretty sure. So when you're looking for store-bought stocks, definitely look for ones which are salt-reduced versions because stock tends to have quite a high amount of salt in it. So the first thing we're doing is just adding the hot stock directly to the couscous. Just going to give that a bit of a stir here.
Hello, Laura. There's just a quick question in the chat box. Whereabouts did you get the couscous from?
Yeah, so the couscous is I just got mine from Coles. So it's usually with the, same aisle as, rice and quinoa, that kind of thing, which also means that, if you're looking for gluten-free options, you can get gluten-free couscous, or you could definitely use something like quinoa or brown rice in replacement of the couscous as well. Now, I thought, as we had a few questions before this, in this lovely survey that you guys fill out while you're booking Project Pantry, we had a few people asking about how to cook chicken well, or, chicken-friendly recipes. So I thought that while this recipe does use tuna, and I've got this here just to show you, this is just canned tuna, I'm going to mix things up a little bit today, and I'm going to put chicken with it instead. And that's just to show you that you really can kind of, make things your own and use what you have on hand. So what we'll be using today is chicken breast. So all I've done, I had quite a large chicken breast. So what I did is I cut it lengthways and then again, just to make it thinner so it cooks quicker and cooks more evenly as well. I have seasoned it with salt, pepper, and I've also put in some paprika, ground cumin, and ground coriander. And those are all spices, lovely Middle Eastern spices, which are going to go really nicely with the vegetables that we have today, the chickpeas and the couscous. So I think it'll blend really well. And they're also spices that you could toss through the couscous, or whether you're using quinoa or whatever you're using as your carbohydrate, you can also toss the spices through there too.
Sorry, Laura, just another question. This recipe calls for vegetable stock. Leslie in the group chat was wondering if she can use leftover steamed veggie juice as a veggie stock alternative.
Oh, you know what? You definitely could. You definitely could. Because basically what you're using that stock for is to just hydrate those couscous grains. So any kind of like warm liquid will do quite well. And using the vegetable stock, or if you have like the water from the steamed veggies, it's just going to give it like that little bit of flavor as well. So yes, definitely. And that's a great way to use up something which would otherwise just pour down the sink. That's a great idea. I love that. You can also make your own vegetable stock as well. So when you're cutting up your veggies, keeping the ends of the veggies or parts of the veggies which you usually throw into the bin, if you kind of keep those all together and boil them with water for a few hours, you can make your own vegetable stock, which, yeah, I think is a really great way to use our food waste as well. Okay, so the chicken is cooking in this pan here. So I've got it on high heat with some extra virgin olive oil, just to help prevent it from sticking. So that's going to be probably a few minutes on both sides, or until we can see the juices of the chicken starting to run clear and that it's white all the way through. And while that's going, I'm going to start preparing the veggies that go into this salad. So we've got the cucumber, which I have to say is one of my favorite veggies. I think it's just such a great spring vegetable to have when the warmer weather's starting to come out, the sun's starting to come out. Yeah, it's just great to have something that's fresh and crunchy like a cucumber. So all I've done is cut it down lengthways and made sure that I'm cutting on a flat surface of the cucumber. And we're just going to dice it like this. If you've been watching for a few times, you know I'm not too precious with things. So, you know, just kind of cutting things up quickly and getting it done. All right, the next thing we've got is a yellow capsicum. Look at that beautiful yellow color. Isn't that great? I love having so many different colors of veggies going on in these salads. But yellow capsicum can be a little bit hard to find on its own. Sometimes you have to buy it, you know, in the 3-pack with the red capsicum and the green capsicum. But as I mentioned with this salad, you can really use what you have on hand. So you can use something like carrot. Carrot would be a great addition, snow peas, peas even. Really just trying to, you know, look in your fridge or at the shops, kind of just being like, okay, what great selection of colors can I put in this? We're just cutting this up here. Now, while I was preparing for this salad, And I was having a look through some of the responses to the survey as well. And we had a few people asking about slow cooker meals. And it got me thinking about this recipe. And this would actually lend itself really well to being a slow cooked version. So again, you can have something like the chicken, have that in with the couscous, and then popping your vegetables in. So you can still use things like capsicum, but also veggies like pumpkin or sweet potato, cauliflower, broccoli. Those veggies which, you know, lend themselves quite well to slow cooker meals would be a great addition to this salad as well, if you're going to go down that route. Okay, so I've got the capsicum in there. I've also got a red capsicum, and today I'm going to use that instead of the tomatoes. And that's just to give you another option for, you know, if you're not a fan of tomatoes, which tomatoes can be a little bit of a hit and miss. So red capsicum is a great alternative because you still kind of get that lovely sweetness from that red color as well. So we're just going to chop this up quickly. And when you're chopping veggies, like capsicum or things that can be sometimes a little bit difficult to chop, always make sure that your knife is very sharp. The sharper the knife means it's less likely to kind of slip and you're less likely to injure yourself. Even though having a sharp knife sounds like it would be dangerous, it's actually safer. So always keep that in mind. Right, so the chicken's almost done there. But the last veggie I'm going to add is red onion.
Sorry, Laura, I think we've just lost your side camera.
Yes. How's that? That's better? Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. The wonders of technology. So while I'm cutting this up, I just want to hear, where are we getting people calling in from today? So we have some people from Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, even some people outside of Australia. Feel free to put your suburb or where you're calling in from into the chat box, because it's always interesting to see where people are from. A few people from the Central Coast. Few people from Sydney. So you'd be also getting the lovely sunny, warm weather that we have today. I think it's quite a welcome blessing after, you know, after the chill that we've had this winter. All right, so cutting up this red onion here. Now, what I'm going to do is just run my knife over the onion just briefly like this, just to kind of cut it up into smaller bits. That's purely because I'm not a huge fan of onions, so that's actually quite a lot. So I'm actually going to take about half of that in. Another one you could use is spring onion as well, and that can be like a little bit milder in flavour. Okay, so
Laura, could leek also be another alternative to using red onion?
what? Sorry, what was that?
Leek, the vegetable leek.
Oh yes, definitely. That would be a great alternative as well. Okay, So I've just taken the chicken off the heat, and it's kind of got that lovely color, and smells really good from all those spices as well. So now all we're going to do is add in our final ingredients. So we've got chickpeas. These have just been drained and washed as well. And our couscous has been sitting there for about 10 minutes. So it's a little tricky to do while I'm holding it up. Basically, we're just going to take a fork and kind of break this up because it tends to get a little bit clumpy. So you just kind of fluff it up with a fork. And then we'll be putting that directly in. In we go with the couscous. And as I said, quinoa or brown rice would also be a great alternative if you don't have couscous, or if you are looking for gluten-free options as well. Okay. So I'm going to bring these ingredients together. And over the top of this, we are going to layer our dressing and fresh herbs. So basically, all we're putting for this is we're going to use a little bit of lemon, and we're going to use some mint and parsley. So this is some that I got from my herb garden a little bit earlier this morning. Which definitely comes in handy for recipes such as this, because herbs, buying them from the supermarket, can tend to be a little bit pricey, especially if you're not using the whole packet. So if you grow your own, you can just kind of take what you need, and you don't have that, that wastage there. Just roughly chopping that. In that goes. The last thing we're getting is a lemon. I'm going to cut that right in half, and using my little lemon squeezer thing, pop the lemon in there, put it right over the top.
Laura, Julie just asks in the chat box, if you're unable to get fresh herbs, what would you suggest using instead for flavour?
You can definitely use dried herbs. So I know you can get either mixed dried herbs would be great, or even just using, I think you can get dried parsley, but sometimes that mixed herbs is a little bit easier to find. So definitely using that. And as I mentioned before, if you want to put some spices in that you're a fan of, so something like paprika, you've got the cumin, the ground cumin and the ground coriander, so you could also pop those in too, and those are great for flavour. So all I'm going to do here is cut the chicken into slices, and we're just going to sit this right on top. Right on top of the salad. All of these colors from all these different vegetables, they just look amazing. We really do eat with our eyes. And so, really paying attention to the colors that you're putting in your dish, it just kind of brings that eating experience, elevates the eating experience. And yeah, and when we enjoy what we're eating and we're really engaging with it, I find that gives us the best motivation to then, keep going and keep cooking healthy meals for ourselves. So I'll just bring that up to the camera to show you there. Hopefully you can kind of see all those different colors that we're getting from all the different veggies. We've got the chickpeas there, great source of fiber for us. We've got the couscous with that, that grain that's going to fill us up. And we've got the chicken in there as well, which is going to give us that really great protein source to keep us full.
Laura, how long would you say that dish would last in the fridge?
Yes, I'd say you wouldn't want to keep it any longer than 3 days, but definitely be looking at keeping it, having it on like the first or second day. With chicken, we obviously don't want to be keeping that for too long. We need to be careful about chicken particularly. So yeah, definitely no longer than 3 days. 3 days, just making sure that you're keeping it in an airtight container as well. Yeah, great question. Great question. So that is our first one for today done. And that was pretty easy. Do you reckon? I feel like that was pretty simple. And it really gives you the ability to kind of make things your own. So in the last little bit, we're going to get started on the mini vegetable quiches.
Sorry, Laura, we've just lost your side camera again. I think it's gone to sleep.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the vegetable quiches, we've got a few different ingredients at play here. So we've got our eggs and our flour, which is going to give us a bit of that kind of quiche and also a bit frittata kind of consistency. So I'm making a half batch today. So I've got just 3 eggs here. What you can do with this one is make a big batch and then pop them in the freezer and have them over the week. Quiches and frittatas really lend themselves quite well to freezing and reheating. Third one in here. Just grabbing a fork and I'm just going to whisk that up quickly. Just really to kind of bring that egg yolk and that egg white together. Egg is a great protein to have because it's pretty inexpensive, but it actually gives you, the complete amino acids and what you need from a complete protein source. So I'm adding in flour here. Eggs are also a really great source of vitamin D. I'm adding in cheese here as well. So vitamin D, particularly as we have just been emerging from the winter months, we tend to kind of see a bit of a drop in vitamin D levels. So 2 eggs, so this has, this one has 3 eggs in it, but 2 eggs a day is going to give you about 80% of your vitamin D requirements. So yeah, so definitely having some source of egg in your meal or whatnot can be a really great way to add that in. I'm using ham in this one today. You can also use tuna, you can use chicken, you could use chickpeas for a vegetarian option as well.
Laura, would you say that you could put this recipe in the oven to bake? And if so, what temperature and duration do you think?
Yes, definitely. So putting it on at, about 180 degrees or your kind of normal temperature for something like this. And then having I'd probably say about 15 minutes maximum, depending on the size of the quiche that you're making. So if it's quite a large cupcake type size or muffin type size, sorry, maybe like 15 minutes, but otherwise if it's a smaller one, about 10 minutes should be fine. You just need to make sure that the egg is fully cooked through. And you can do that by, kind of the touch test or breaking one open and just making sure that it's cooked all the way through. Okay. So I'm going to be adding mushrooms to this. So here we've got little button mushrooms, which is very cute. And again, having a wide range of veggies in your diet is going to help your body kind of stay at its healthiest, because every veggie, every fruit, offers a different kind of proportion of antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, fiber. So having a good range there is going to give your body the range of nutrients that it needs. But while many of us are at home at the moment and getting to the shops can be tough, you can use things like frozen veggies to give you that range of vegetables. If you're not, if going out and buying a whole range of vegetables sounds like you're not going to make it through all of those veggies, so try to buy a bag of mixed frozen veggies instead. Because we don't want to have that food waste there if we can avoid it, because it's wasted money and it's also just going into the bin. So it's not quite practical for us to have. All right, so we're going in with parsley here. There we go. I've also got some creamed corn. So this, you'll probably find it next to normal corn. The only difference is it's got a little bit more liquid. So basically they kind of process that corn a little bit and it's kind of got a little bit of a starchy, a starchy sauce that's kind of holding it together. The reason why we're using creamed corn is because it does give that, it gives that moisture to the quiche that we need. Okay. So I'm going to add a couple of spring onions as well. You could also add chives, more veggies. If you have a little bit of red onion, if you've been making the other one, you could pop in a little bit of red onion if you wanted. Again, it's about using what you have on hand and and finding ways to use up all of our veggies. You could also grate carrot, celery, zucchini through this. And if you have fussy kids at home, kind of a good way to hide veggies and they might not be able to tell. So so definitely having a look and seeing what veggies you have there. Okay. So to cook this, I'm actually going to use one of my little ramekins. You could also use a mug, a microwave-friendly mug. You could also use, I know you can get the microwavable patty cases as well. I don't have those, so yeah, again, it's just about looking at the equipment that you have. Okay. So we're just going to spoon this in. I'm going to pop a few little cherry tomatoes on top, just like that. And now I'm going to pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes. Just going to grab a little bit of paper towel just to cover that top. There we go. Two minutes there. And as you can see, you still have quite a bit of mix left. So I've made one, and this is only a half batch, and I still have quite a bit there. So if you're doing the full batch, definitely, consider if you can freeze some, pop them into like a little Ziploc bag and freeze them in the freezer, and yeah, have them throughout the week. So how are both of these recipes sitting with everyone? Do these feel like things that you can kind of whip up this weekend or give a go next week? Yeah, good options. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think what we need at the moment is things that are really simple, really easy, and are not going to take a long time for us to prepare. We're not standing in the kitchen for hours on end making them. We can kind of whip them up really quickly and keep them in our fridge or freezer. So yeah, so any recipe that's going to give you that ability to make it really quickly, and using what you have on hand, that's what we need.
Laura, we've spoken about the storage conditions for the quiche. What about freezing it raw? Is that an option?
Freezing it raw. I've personally never tried that, so I don't know. I think that, yeah, I'm not sure how the egg would go being frozen and then coming back out. I think it would probably be okay, but I think it would probably be best to cook it and then freeze it. But yeah, I might even give that a go and see how that works, and I'll let you guys know next time. Because yeah, I suppose if we make the mix up in advance, then yeah, that's something that we can definitely do. Okay, so I'm just going to grab oven mitt here. There we go. So that was 2 minutes. That seems all right. So if you can see in that camera there, it smells really good. So you can see that the egg has cooked through. So it's kind of like a frittata kind of thing there. But again, you have that flour to hold it all together. You've got lots of different veggies in there, source of protein, so whatever protein that you've used, and the fresh herbs as well. Or you could use dried mixed herbs even, to kind of give it more of that flavor as well. So there we have it. We've got our 2 very quick, very easy, using a lot of kind of similar ingredients that you can cross over as well. 2 recipes, great for breakfast, great for lunch, great for dinner as well. So you can really kind of, I keep saying make it your own, but that's because I really want you to be looking into your pantries, looking into your fridge and seeing what you can come up with. Yeah, using the recipe as a starting point and going for it. So there we go. We've got our 2 recipes done. In just over 30 minutes, we've got 2, beautiful meals prepared that will kind of very much keep us fueled throughout the day. So with that, I'm going to ask you again to rate how confident you feel about cooking, healthy meals or using what you've got lying around. So on a scale of 1 to 5, again, 1 feeling not confident, 5 feeling super confident, pop it in the chat or feel free to raise your hand and then let me see how many fingers you have holding up. How confident do you feel about cooking healthy meals? Or even how confident do you feel about cooking these meals? Yes, I can see some 5s popping up on the screen over there. Excellent. That's great to hear. It's great to hear. If you do try out these recipes, do take a photo and send it through to us, because I'd love to see how you're going, or, if you make any changes to the recipes and it's really worked for you, do let me know, because then I can pass it on and we can all benefit from it. So yeah, give it a go and let me know how you go. Paige will be popping into the chat a little feedback form as well. It'll take about 30 seconds. Just if we would love if you could just fill that out very quickly. But again, thank you all for joining me today. Another week of Project Pantry. We're really looking forward to all the recipes we have coming up, and we're excited of all the recipes that we have available for you guys to try out at home. So if you have any questions about healthy eating, or even exercise, or any other ways that Share and Nutrition Australia New South Wales can help you out, do feel free to send us an email or give us a call. We're always here to help. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely Friday and a lovely weekend, and I'll hopefully see you next week for the next session of Project Pantry. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.